Yeah. What up? Oh, yeah. What up? It's the man about town, Virgil Berry, aka Stacks with the Facts. Y'all know y'all tuned in to another episode of Real Talk Podcast. You know what I'm talking about? Beautiful Saturday afternoon. I just came from filming these little young brothers play football. And I gotta say, I'm not tired, but it's definitely a workout chasing the young brethren up and down the field. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I really love to do. And I do it every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Especially during the Little League football season. So that's what I do. But this is something that I want to talk to y'all about real quick. Something I want to go in and expound on. First and foremost, shouts out to my brethren, Red Supreme TV1. Make sure y'all go subscribe to the brothers page. Shouts out to all my brothers in the mod squad over there. And shouts out to all my brothers that support me over here too. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to expound a little bit on something that we touched on briefly the other day. But I'm about to go in a little bit on it right now. Now, I sit here and told y'all about reading that book. Dude just almost fell on his motorcycle, y'all. Do y'all hear me? He almost laid it down just now. Do you hear me, man? Now, when I'm talking about 1984, right? 1984 is a book y'all always hear me talking about, right? Y'all always hear me talk about this book, 1984, by George Orwell. Now, we're going to get into a little background history to it. George Orwell, his real name is Eric Blair, right? He went to the world famous and renowned Eton University in London, England, right? He studied eugenics, and he studied, English and Western philosophy, so to speak. Now, think about the United Kingdom. Eric Blair, real name or his pen name George Orwell, but real name Eric Blair. Guess who he related to? Tony Blair. All these people are related, right? Anyway, Eric Blair went to Eton University, where he was roommates with a guy by the name of Julian Huxley, right? Now, Julian's brother was Aldous Huxley. And if y'all know anything about Aldous Huxley, he was a eugenicist who was one of the pioneers in the eugenics movement back in the late 2030s and 40s, right? 40s and 50s during World War II. Aldous Huxley was a famous eugenicist, right? His little brother was Aldous Huxley, my fault. Julian Huxley was the older brother. Aldous Huxley is the younger brother, who was also a eugenicist, and he wrote the book Brave New World. Now, Eric Blair, or George Orwell, and Aldous Huxley were roommates at Eton University, where they both attended a very prestigious and long history fraternal organization, which is known as the Fabian Society. Any of y'all ever heard of the Fabian Society? The Fabian Society was created by a Roman general under Julius Caesar named Fabius Maximus. Fabius Maximus. See how it's all connected? Now, they attended this fraternal organization called the Fabian Society, which their symbol is that of a wolf in sheep's clothing. It has a picture of a wolf with a sheepskin over his back. Right? I say all that to say what I'm about to say. Was George Orwell writing a novel off of his imagination, or was he basically just writing about what he was privy to based on his membership to the Fabian Society? Y'all go do some research on the Fabian Society, right? So George Orwell writes the book 1984 in the year 1948. Now, mind you, Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World about a good 20 years before George Orwell wrote 1984, right? But they went to college at the same time. You know, Aldous Huxley is a little bit older than George Orwell, or real name Eric Blair. Right? And if you ever read that book, 1984, it is a dystopian novel depicting a society which is ran by a totalitarian, you understand what I'm saying? A totalitarian, outright dictatorship government, where the government runs everything, hears everything, and sees everything. And everything in this novel, in this society, in this novel, was monitored, surveilled by a system, an electronic system, grid system, smart grid, strategic military armaments and residential technology grid that they refer to as Big Brother. Now, all of y'all who use this term Big Brother, now y'all know where the word Big Brother came from. Y'all all was playing when I was in the joint, all these dudes used to like watching that Big Brother show. The term Big Brother came from George Orwell's book, 1984. How many of y'all knew that? Right? How many of y'all knew that? And in the novel, 1984, the totalitarian dictatorship regime was known as INGSOC, right? Or the English Socialist Republic. Notice Ing was spelled with an I and not an E. And in this society, the government ran everything, controlled everything. Even to the point where they had a smart grid system called Big Brother. And in everybody's home, mind you, nobody had private property. Everybody lived in megastructures. Y'all hear me talking about megastructures? In smart cities, mega cities, Eurasia, Oceania, where everybody's every move of every day was monitored and surveilled by Big Brother. Even to the point to where no matter where you went, there was huge murals and paintings and banners of the image of Big Brother's face everywhere. And no matter where you looked at this picture, no matter where you saw it, as it was sprayed across every building and everywhere in this society, every time you looked at Big Brother, the picture always seemed as if it was looking directly at you. Right? And in everybody's house, in their assigned housing where they were to be staying, they had what was known as telescreens, or what we call smart TVs today. Oh, and the smart grid system today, the Big Brother today, is social engineering, or should we say, how we call it, social media. Oh, so I gotta get on this way. I can't go this way at all, huh? Crazy. And I really think that if people read these two novels, especially 1984, and if y'all read Brave New World, I really think that y'all get a good over, inner, outer, extra understanding of what actually is going on in our society today. Because it's literally the same stuff going on today that's going on in that book, and that book was written over 70, 80 years ago. Right? Now, in 1984, y'all, there was a lot of new ideas, and there was a lot of mind fuckery going on, if you will. You hear me? What we call cognitive dissonance, or what they call double think. Right? Y'all hear me talk about group think, hive mind, collective, agent provocateurs. Read 1984. And even as today, as we sit here and we dissect the psyche of the modern women, especially modern black women, We see that they have, or should I say, we see how they have been ingrained, indoctrinated with the very same ideologies and concepts that George Orwell depicted in his novel, dystopian novel at that. Right? Just pay attention. In his book, 1984, George Orwell has the concept of new speak. And new speak versus old speak. Old speak are words that are no longer used because they cause one to think and to want to have their own thought process and to question what was being told by them from the government. Right, so what they did in this new society was they took certain words out that connected your brain to certain thoughts and ideas. That way, when you cut off these words, thus cutting off the brain's connection to the very idea of what the word is representing, that means it no longer exists. Nobody talks about it. Basically, they got rid of words that inspired independent thought. Sound familiar? Now look at our modern day women, specifically, especially black women, right? Look how they have downloaded these ideologies of feminism, sexual freedom, revolution ideologies, women's rights movements, black liberation movements. This is the same concepts that George Orwell spoke on in 1984, right? In 1984, George Orwell also has a concept of crime think. Crime think was any word or any thoughts, ideas that one would think up that would question, walk with me, that would question or put into question anything that the government or Big Brother said. Right? This was called crime think. Basically, anything that spoke out against or challenged the system was automatically deemed illegal or crime think. Now correlate that to what we got going on now, to the point to where everybody's made to be so offended in our society that to even question or critique the psyche or behavior of modern women, even more specifically black women, is not only disrespectful, but can even be considered slander or bashing. I dare say illegal. Walk with me, y'all. In 1984, George Orwell has a concept of the memory hole. The memory hole is a department within the Ministry of Truth. Look at the inverse. Sole purpose in 1984 was to get rid of any information or knowledge that would question or challenge the validity of Big Brother and the INSALT system. Right? Think about this now. All right? This is 1984, George Orwell. This is what's going on in our society right now. Right? The Ministry of Truth. Y'all hear me say that a lot. The Ministry of Truth is being developed, is being established right in our faces. The Ministry of Truth is criminalizing, vilifying anybody who is speaking out against the mainstream, the norm, the narratives. Y'all see how our sister, and especially our black sister, have downloaded this mindset to the point to where we can't even challenge or question or critique them. You hear they always say, who can hold me? Who gonna judge me? Right? Who can handle me? Can't nobody tell me nothing. This is all spoke of in 1984, y'all. This is why I always tell y'all should go read that book. Another concept in 1984, right, is the thought police. Now y'all hear me? Y'all hear Jonathan Coleman say this a lot too. Thought police. And in 1984, if you hear anybody say thought police, this is where they got the concept from 1984. It was literally a department of the Ministry of Truth who were called the thought police. And in 1984, in this society of Oceania and Eurasia, right, you would be considered a thought criminal or be guilty of thought crime or crime think if you would even think or be believed to have been thinking anything in opposition to what Big Brother says is what it is, man. Do y'all over and or out understand where I'm going with this, man? Look at our society today. Look at how these ideologies have been ingrained into the very psyches, y'all understand me, of most all people, but specifically, especially women, and even more so black women, to the point to where it is being displayed in our society where we see this behavior. You know, and as much as we put it in front of them, as much as we bring it to their awareness and challenge and critique it, the more they're going to fight against it, because that's what they've been programmed to do. Like my brother Red say, program thoughts and robots. Damn, I'm gonna run this light messing with y'all. But walk with me, y'all, for real, man. Just walk with me one time, man. Right? This is why I keep saying it, y'all. Y'all need to read this book, 1984. It'll give you a clear, more insight and oversight, you know what I'm saying, as to how this ideologies have not only been spoken about in novels from back in the day, but you can also see how these same things that they speak on in these dystopian novels are actually have been implemented in our modern society. Now, mind you, these books were written, some of them 60, 70 plus years ago. You hear me, y'all? And these concepts and ideologies out of these books are being played out in our society today. So that's why I say I want y'all to like really, you know what I'm saying, don't believe anything I ever say. Always question and challenge everything, especially what I say. But I also want y'all to have an open mind. Like I said, you don't have to have a deep mind. You don't have to have a brilliant mind. You don't have to have even a creative mind. You just need to have an open mind, which I can guess you could say is being creative as well too. So you know what I'm saying, y'all go grab that book, man. Y'all can go get that off of Amazon. You can go to your local bookstore. I swear that book ain't no more than $15, man. $20 at the most. You know what I'm saying? Get you a pen, get you a highlighter, understand me, and make sure you underline as you read. Underline words that you never heard before. Go to get the definition of them. You know, do your sidebar conversations in your book. If you see things that are familiar to you, some of these concepts may already be familiar. You speak on. That's what I'm saying. Do some active reading, man. Don't just read a book. Do active reading. Highlight, underline, take notes, put commentary in your books. That's how you sync and link with the information in the book. You know what I'm saying? When you write in it and you underline and you highlight. So when somebody else reads it, they can be like, oh, okay. And that's what I suggest y'all do, man. You get your active reading game up. Because I'm an avid reader. I read a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So, yeah, y'all hit that like button, man. You know what I'm saying? Get this video out. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll have a lot more content coming. Like I said, I'm getting a basement together, about to get the whole ambiance going on. Listen, when we do this content, y'all, we got to do it at the level of professionalism that the mainstream do in order to be taken serious with our information and our content. That's one of the main things I learned in media school. You know what I mean? Y'all can go over to the website, www.arealtalkmedia.com. Subscribe to the website, send me a message, check out the content on there. About to have a whole new revamping of the website, about to have the merch on there. Of course, always subscribe, like, share, comment on the YouTube page. You You know what I mean? And if y'all want to get in contact with me, just hit me up on the email. artmediallc@yahoo.com. Send me an email. Shouts out to my brother Red Supreme. Shouts out to Mr. O. You know what I mean? Shouts out to John J. Chef Spectacular. Lord Honesty. Jonathan Coleman. Prodigal Son 75. You hear me? Vernon 85. Shout out to everybody, man. Emma J. You know what I mean? Zahira Sharif. You know, shout out to everybody that be in the chat room with my brethren Red, man. We getting in, we expanding, we growing, linking up, creating lines of communication. You know what I mean? We got a lot of stuff going on. We about to start linking up, man. So you know what I mean? Anybody who been listening to me, y'all been told y'all, man, this is what we got to do. In these times that we living in, we got to start linking up with each other across country. While we still have the opportunity to do it, they giving us all these platforms to communicate and interact with each other, which lets you know they tracking who we are. But so what? We don't care. We don't do fear. And I'm telling y'all right now, if anybody needs to read 1984, my black sisters, it's y'all. Everybody need to read it, but if anybody in particular specifically need to read it, it's y'all. Y'all have fully downloaded the mindset of Big Brother to the point where y'all have become agent provocateurs. That's why I always say that. So y'all already know what it is, man. You know, y'all already know what it is, man. This is serious, man. You know. And I'm not doing this, you know, trying to, you know, I don't care about being lit or none of that. We are at war. You hear me? We have spiritual war, and we are at intellectual warfare. You know, they're coming for our minds, especially those of our children. So y'all know, man, this is how we do it over here at A-Real Talk Podcast. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can definitely subscribe to the page, hit that bell, my bad. Hit that bell. You know what I mean? We're going to have more content coming, man. So, you know, all I got to say to that is keep your energy up because the devil's deceitful. I'm gone. Hey.